What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, OTB Nation? Welcome into episode number 402 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, somewhat working internet, and of course viewable on YouTube. Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast network. KB and Deej coming at you on a penultimate NLL offseason edition of the pod. Next week, we will have games. And by next week, I mean this week, because we had to record late again because Xfinity loves to have me not having working internet. So first and foremost, I want to apologize to the viewers, to the listeners, for us being way off the mark the past couple of weeks, simply because it was out of my control to not have working internet. And when you run an internet-based media company, you kind of need the internet. So thanks, Xfinity. It's Xfinity's fault that we have not been able to record on time because we kind of need the internet to do that because they have not #built the loop.
They need to build the loop now.
Now, if you know, you know. And if you don't know, slide in our DMs and we'll tell you about it. We're going to go through and kind of just give our analyses of expectations for each NLL team, a bit different from our typical NLL season preview, simply because there's still a lot of unknown. I just saw Adam Levy tweeted, Deej, that tomorrow is when we should know complete rosters for the season. So then we'll kind of have a real baseline of what to expect just from a roster construction standpoint. But we're going to go through some of the key moves each team made. We have another interview, our final Wings Media Day interview with Eric Fannell and Mitch Armstrong from Wings Media Day on this episode. So definitely stick around for that. And just a full-blown NLL episode this week. Not much has gone on. Although fun news for us, we did get connected with City Lax, and we're on their media list now. So if you see more things from City Lax coming from us, there's a reason why. And they just announced their 9 new members of their board or something like that, or advisors, and Michael Earhart is one of them. Nice. That was one of the most notable names there. But yeah, I was talking to Rich Lisk. He's now the man running the show at City Lax. He's going to be coming on the show soon too. Going to be fun to catch up with him. It's been a while since we've talked to Rich, which has typically been in person. He's never been on the show, but very excited to get reconnected with him now that he's in his new role with City Lax. But stay tuned for more stuff with City Lax. Stay tuned for our interview with Eric Fannell and Mitch Armstrong. But Deej, how we living?
I am great. Uncle Deej is doing great. Life is good. The Michigan is literally trying to kill me. That's about all I can say. Played Purdue, won by 5. Beat Northwestern on a last-minute field goal. And then looked pretty bad against Maryland until about the middle of the second quarter. So yeah, if next Saturday my timeline says some questionable things, I'm okay. Michigan is just, embarrassing me in a football game against Ohio State. So everything will be just fine. Other than that, the Pistons are number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, second team in the NBA. 13-game win streak. I'm
very fun
right now.
They're very fun. Good. They're a fun watch.
Yes, they're playing very good basketball right now. So I couldn't be happier. And Western football is probably going to make the MAC championship, so I might go to that in 2 weeks if that happens. So sports are treating me well over here in Michigan right now.
Yeah, we're vibing. Big one as we record this on Sunday afternoon. Playing in Dallas in Kelly Green's big put your nuts on the table type game.
Nice.
Flyers are playing fun hockey. Put up a 4-piece in the first period against the Devils. Put up 6 total goals. Boys are buzzing. If the playoffs started today, they'd be a wild card.
Red Wings are first in the Atlantic. So
Sixers are playing good ball. Tyrese Maxey, 54 burger.
I saw that.
Put up a stat line that nobody in NBA history has ever put up before. Yeah, we're vibing.
Got beat twice by the Pistons, though.
Hey, good team. I'll take losing to a good team. It's not like it's the Pistons of yesteryear.
Not even yesteryear. You got yester couple years, because last year was a good year for us too. Now a couple years ago, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was looking real bad. That's all I want to say.
That's funny. But yeah, we're vibing, and it's Thanksgiving week, DJ's favorite week of the year.
Dude, I've been thinking about this week since this week
last year.
Yeah, this week last year. Like, Doc, I wake up Friday, Black Friday, and I'm already thinking about Thanksgiving. As I'm eating Thanksgiving food from yesterday, the day before, I'm already thinking about doing this again the next year. And the countdown starts from there. Thanksgiving needs to roll back around.
He's got a whole countdown clock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We need that every year. That's the most important day. Well, it's a couple other important days. But that's a top 5 most important.
That's a top 5 food day.
Top 1 food day?
I never said it was 5.
But that's the food day. Like we didn't even got to incorporate any other number. Well,
I treat my birthday as a big food day.
Sure, but it's not bigger than Thanksgiving.
Well, the way that I go about it.
No, because there's more that is added in Thanksgiving. There's the family, the football. I have certain activities I like to indulge in that help.
I have the family and the football
traditions.
Yeah,
this stuff is sleep. But this is that's all you're required to do on Thanksgiving. Sometimes on our birthdays, we're required to do other things.
Hey, I make sure I'm not required to do things. Fuck that.
I ain't say I did anything on my birthday recently. But sometimes, your birthday falls on a day where you got to do stuff.
Hey, we're all not that fortunate to always have football on our birthdays.
Exactly.
I'm #blessed. But yeah, we're gonna go through these NLL teams, kind of give our thoughts on some of the moves that were made, some of the new faces and new places, and kind of just give some base level thoughts, if you will, because there's still a lot to be sifted through when it comes to these rosters and who's going to be where and all that good stuff. Some moves could still be made before we know it. So we'll see what all goes down. But DJ, I think we start with, we're going to go in order. We're going to be using the NLL post that they put out to kind of recap the offseason moves in that order. So we'll start with Toronto, our good friends, if you will. Put the air quotes there around friends. So these things do not include re-signed players, which I have to point out, re-signed is spelled incorrectly on this graphic. It says resigned.
Well, they also misspelled defense.
Well, they do the Canadian
and color
spelling of it. Yeah. But
you know what? The way I see it is, I think we misspell everything. I think we do everything wrong here. So I'm gonna leave it.
I will say the way we spell defense, I prefer. When I see defense spelled with a C, I'm like, brother, ew. Ew, brother.
That actually makes me think of when people make the defense signs.
Yes.
Where they do D with a picket fence, and I'm like, defense? I'm gonna jump the fence. Like, is that what's happening here? Like, it just does. No, it's got to have an S on.
Yeah, and whenever I see color with a U, I'm like color.
Color.
Doesn't that mean hot in Spanish? Calor, like hace calor. Hello,
calor.
But yeah, it says resigned players, but it should say re-signed. But we'll start with Toronto because they added a bunch of players that are some of our favorite young players and some of our favorite players in general for their key additions, being Sam English, Owen Hiltz, CJ Kirst. We'll start with the draft picks. Sam English, a 2024 draft pick, Owen and CJ 2025 picks. We've had front row seats for all of them this past season in the PLL. DG, you've obviously watched them in college more intently as well, but from a professional level standpoint, we had front row seats all PLL season long for the three of them. Obviously, Sam got injured early in the year, but nonetheless, adding those three to a roster that includes Challen Rogers, Mark Matthews, does not include Tom Schreiber for the time being, unfortunately. But I think when you add those three into the mix and what we've seen Owen and CJ in particular do this preseason, it gets you excited about just the prospect of what those guys are going to be able to accomplish in the NLL. And obviously we knew Owen has the box background, but seeing CJ kind of carry that mantle of like the next American player to pick up the box game and run full stride with it, like we saw Brennan do a year ago, like we saw Michael Sowers do mid-season last year, and like we've seen a bunch of American players, you know, over the past couple of years start to do, where it's like, yeah, I'm going to play box, I'm going to play lacrosse year-round, kind of refine my skills, learn different skills. They're going to be very, very entertaining to watch on it from an offensive perspective, and we know what their defense is made of, but the offense, I think, is going to be a lot less suspect, a lot less stagnant than it was last year, simply because you're adding three guys who just like emit creativity from the moment they pick up a stick.
I'm most interested to see Sam on this team. My thing with these three is we saw a couple years ago in Box Worlds what CJ brings to a box team. It didn't really matter what box team he was going to go to. He was going to bring an extreme scoring prowess to that team in a box setting, just with the way that he dodges, feeds, shoots. The offensive capability of that team was going to immediately rise. Like there was zero question about that. Kind of the same with Owen Hiltz as well, in terms of looking back at his juniors career with box and the time he spent playing box during the offseason in college. His college time, he's a pure scorer. Like, can he create for other guys? Yeah. Can he, do some other things on the field? Absolutely. But he's a pure scorer. He reminds me a lot of guys like Ryan Brown, Jay Carlson, like those kind of guys that literally just know how to. Yeah, Westberg just know how to put the ball in the back of the net. Like that's their job. They're not worried about anything else. The other parts come with it, but their main role on any team is to put the ball in the back of the net. Owen Hiltz does that. He's going to do that for whatever team he went to. Sam has the potential to kind of be almost like not necessarily a spark plug, but almost like a very key player for them. And because I think he's going to play more of a transition role for them, in my opinion. And Latrell Harris is really just now getting his footing back under himself after his injuries.
Shout out Treasy, got his bag, signed an extension the other day.
Challen Rogers has been dealing with the same of injuries and such. So like adding in another fresh face to that group that has the skills to body up anybody on the defensive side is going to be a loose ball monster, but then can still produce for you on the offensive end and transition / stay out and play offense for a full possession. Just the kind of versatility that he's going to bring that transition room could be huge for this team this upcoming season.
Dare I say Courier-esque, or even to a lesser degree, not to diminish the player I'm about to say, but like Jake Stevens.
That's exactly, that was the next name I was going to bring up, is like him, Jake Stevens are inching toward that Courier type play where it's like this guy. Like, first off, I don't think we're ever going to get anyone like Zach Courier again. Like he is, in my opinion, one of one.
Unicorn.
With the abilities he has, like how good his abilities are. Like, you could take Zach Courier and make him strictly just a D mid. He's still a top D mid in the league. You make him strictly an O mid, he's a top O mid in the league. You make him do everything, he's a top everything guy in the league. Like,
is he a top goalie in the league if you make him a goalie?
No, no, and I'm not sure that he could be a top attackman. Just because, like, not that he doesn't have the skill set, but just like I feel like he would almost get bored. He's like, there's not enough for me to do here. Like,
I can't. What do I do with my hands?
Yeah, like, so I just feel like that wouldn't necessarily be for him. He could maybe be a dangerous pull too. Anyway, but that's beside the point. But those guys kind of enter that same realm of
Zach Courier with a pull. It's got me feeling nicey.
Man, listen, they just reached that level of like plug and play. Hey, whatever we need, wherever, we know that this guy can go and do it. So I'm interested to see how this coaching staff uses Sam English, how he interacts with his teammates, who he's out on the floor with at different times. Because I also could see him being one of those guys that Ian McKay, like, you'll see Ian play defense with like 4 guys, and then he'll push it in transition and stay on offense and be on the floor with a completely different 4 guys, and we'll play 2 completely different ways, but they both fit those group of guys. Mm-hmm. I think they also could fit into that same standard of knowing how to play with who's on the floor with them, and then being that person that you can play sub games with.
And then on top of that, Nick Rose comes back, which I know is a tough one for you, obviously, Deej, but you know,
we good.
Getting Nick Rose back to be in between the pipes for a very like talented defense that, you know, Treasy is back. Challen Rogers plays great defense. If Sam English is getting back on defense too and playing well in that transition game, along with, you know, the other pieces that they have there that have been mainstays, obviously Elijah Gash, I think, is going to take a huge step forward. He also just signed an extension through 2030, which shows you Toronto has a huge belief in his talents and what he brings to the team. They're going to be formidable. And I mean, a team that has the first 3 picks in a draft, you should be formidable off the rip, especially considering the circumstances of what this team was last year and who they still have and their key subtractions, according to the NLL. Brian Cameron, who's now with the Philadelphia Wings via trade because he went to Colorado and then was traded to Philly in another trade afterwards. And then Corey Small goes to San Diego. No slug, because we love Corey. I'm excited to watch Brian. Adding Sam English, Owen Hiltz, CJ Hurst to your offense is a significant upgrade to those subtractions. Like, you lost those guys who are like prolific, you know, type offensive players and can score in bunches for you. But when you add young, fresh leg talent like English, Hiltz, and Hurst, I mean, what more could you ask for?
I mean, you're replacing sufficient scoring and knowledge now with sufficient scoring that will gain knowledge over time. And then
like
we'll get
high ceiling scoring.
Like, you already, like, as far as like point production, I don't think you're losing much. Mm-hmm. If anything at all. You might even gain a little bit in terms of point production from what you lost to what you gained. You just don't have the same experience and knowledge and mindset that those guys had. But in a couple years, that will come, and then the scoring prowess of this group could be exponentially higher than what it is now, which now you've not only gained more scoring, but now you have a better player than what you gave up, which is kind of the whole point of making these moves the way you do. The best way to do it is to go out and be able to replace what you're letting go. And then once those players get better, you've basically upgraded and won the trade or the swap, whatever you want to call it. You made the right move and got rid of the right guys to bring in the right guys.
Yeah, so Toronto's definitely going to be an interesting team this year, just to see how it all. I think the one, like, for lack of a better term, like concern or like, you know, thing that people should like be hesitant with is just seeing the chemistry in real game action and seeing how those new pieces mesh with the veterans that have been there, and seeing how those guys kind of get their legs under them in the NLL. They're going to have ups and downs. It's bound to happen. But nonetheless, they're going to be an exciting team to watch. However you dice it up, like those three on offense, along with the team that they already have, is going to be very exciting. Which takes us to everyone's second favorite offseason darling, the Vancouver Warriors, who added a shit ton this offseason. Key additions: Reese Callies, Curtis Dixon, Jesse King, Shane Simpson, Ethan Ticehurst. Key subtractions: Aiden Walsh, Riley Lowen. I think it's very funny that Riley Lowen went to Vancouver first, leaving Calgary after they won the championship in 2019. And then all of his teammates are now there, and then he decides to go back to Calgary.
I really was about to say while you were reading that, I said, why didn't he just say half the Calgary Roughnecks joined Vancouver?
Yep.
In exchange for Riley Lowen. Like, that's pretty much what happened. They were like, here, you can have all of this, and we just want Riley.
It's the SpongeBob meme where he gives the eel the ice cream. You can have it.
Literally.
I mean, and this goes in addition to now a full season of Christian Del Bianco on the horizon as well in goal for Vancouver. Here's my thing with Vancouver. This is so different from any other team that makes key offseason additions simply because these guys have played together. They've won a championship together, and they're playing for the coach who coached them in that championship. This is such a unique circumstance that I genuinely don't know if we've ever seen this in sports in our lifetime to this level. You know, we've seen guys go and link up with coaches. We've seen guys, run it back and everything. But to have this many players go to a specific team that have a coach that they won a title with before, I think is unprecedented in any North American sport.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this large of a group in any sport kind of just move and go with a coach outside of like college sports, which is like a totally different thing because like more so you're committing to the coach rather than the school. Like sometimes the school's there, but like it's mainly the people that you are being coached by that you were pledging to play for because you like their mindset, you like the way they coach, whatever it is that draws you in. Not quite the same in the pros for any sport, but like I guess in lacrosse you kind of can do that with the way free agency and things work and kind of just how the leagues work in general. Like you're not really spending, for most guys, you're not spending a lot of time in these cities that you play in unless you live there. And a lot of these guys don't live there. So you're not really connected to the city. And it's like, oh, this or that. Like this stadium's cool. But once again, you're not spending a ton of time in there. So it's more about the people that you're spending time with. If you really like a certain coach, when you get the opportunity to go play for him again, you're probably going to pack up and go. It just so happens that all of these guys were eligible to leave at the same time and decided to leave at the same time. Mm-hmm. But that's just, to me, that's the way the NLL works. We just haven't seen too many coaches leave and go to another program, and then a bunch of guys follow. A lot of times these guys are keeping their jobs for forever. Like guys are coaching in one space for forever, and then they decide to retire or try some other place for a couple of years. And then they hang it up. So it kind of makes sense.
The only thing that I can like compare it to, and it's different even then because what I'm about to bring up is a draft, not free agency. It's like the Eagles drafting all the Georgia defensive players.
Yeah.
Like they won a championship together, but it's not even the same coach, but it's also a draft. So it's not a foregone conclusion that you're going to play with all those guys, but somehow Howie Roseman finds a way to draft them or bring them in free agency. But to have that like mass exodus to Vancouver is wild. And then you're adding that to Keegan Ball and, all the players that are on that Vancouver roster that are wildly talented. And, You have Stath at the stripe, who we saw his game improve by playing box, and now he's going to be able to have all of this talent around him. Vancouver's going to be wildly entertaining this year. And to me, this is Vancouver pushing their chips in the middle of the table for, at most, with this specific group of players, including all of them, a 3-year window max. Like you have a ticking time bomb now of when you can win a championship, and it starts this season.
They feel like the new Seals.
Yeah.
Like the Seals are abandoning that strategy and like getting rid of a lot of the veteran guys and like starting to go for some younger talent and try and get some draft picks. And then Vancouver's like, hey, you know what? Y'all kind of had a decent idea. Y'all just ain't run it right.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you how to do that. And now they're going to getting all these guys and they're going to try and win in a couple of years. Like it kind of makes sense. So I feel like there has to be a team like that feels like, oh, we've been so close. Let's go get these like superstar veteran guys and like get it done. Like I feel like every sport has one of those teams and it needs it because like it just adds to the storylines and ambiance of the league and the season. And now it's Vancouver's turn to be that. I'm just going to call them the Vancouver Roughnecks for the year or next couple of years because that's what they are.
Yeah.
From the top
They should
down.
add some red to their uniform.
No, because we're bringing red back.
I know.
Excuse me. The Calgary Roughnecks are doing their job. They're doing one thing right, okay? I'm happy about that.
But yeah, Vancouver's they are championship or bust in my book. That is the label I'm putting on them, where like Toronto's not necessarily that because they've got this influx of youth now. Vancouver's very championship or bust for this year and next year.
I think Toronto just came out of championship or bust.
Toronto's like competing, but it's not.
Well, I mean, like the last like 5 years,
I
think was basically championship or bust. Like when you look at their rosters, and then the last like basically last offseason, this offseason, look at kind of who's dispersed or hasn't come back and stuff. You're like, damn, they were kind of in a championship or bust mentality, and they busted. So here we are. Like
pause.
Big pause. Man, you're wild.
But yeah, Vancouver's very much championship or bust. And that brings us to the next team that is everyone's offseason darling, the Vegas Desert Dogs. Key additions, Deej. Chris Kluche, Chase Fraser, Tyson Gibson, Mitch Jones, John LaFontaine. Key subtractions, Jonathan Gagliardi, Holden Catoni. That doesn't even bring up guys like Tony Malcolm, Connor Sellers, and a whole bunch of other players that flocked to Sin City. This team is going to be fun. Can they play defense is the question.
We're going to find out.
That has been the question for them since they have come into existence.
Low key, though, hear me out. Technically, you only have to play so much defense. They might be taking the old school Packers route with Favre and Rodgers. Hey, just make sure they don't score this. Like pretty much just get to the end of the game, and they're going to call a timeout and be like, hey, defense, you got to get a stop here. And then they'll go down and score, and the game will be over.
This team to me is, at least this season, because it's so new, so many new pieces, still a lot of questions on defense and goaltending. They are either going to be wildly successful, or this is going to be like Philadelphia Eagles dream team circa Nnamdi Asomugha and everything, where nothing went right. And we're going to be like, whoa, what happened in Vegas? It wouldn't shock me either way. I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains for this team. And that's me just, looking at it, any sport, especially early on, when you add so much talent in free agency, that is an indicator that your team was bad for the most part. There's some exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, when you're adding talent like Vegas did, very different from what Vancouver did, when you go out and sign all of these players to these alleged big money contracts, that's just an indicator that your team was not good and you are trying to put Band-Aids over that not good team. Now, they added a lot of talent. Now it's up to that talent to mesh and blend together with the existing players that were there. And now there's so much pressure on Sean Williams, their head coach, to make this work, because not only is he the head coach, he's the GM.
Well,
so it's a double reflection of what's to occur over the next couple of years with this team. And I don't know. I'm going to be tuned in to watch this team because it's going to be fascinating. But I am a lot more skeptical, I think, than the masses when it comes to Vegas this year. I'm very much wait and see, more so than saying, yep, that's a playoff team, put them in the NLL finals, it's a done deal. I think there's going to be a lot more growing pains than people are giving this process credit for.
Yeah, I'm kind of more so along the lines of what you're thinking. Like, in my head, like I said a little bit ago, you don't have to play as much defense as you have to do offense. Like, this team could take a kind of an old school route and just be like, hey, like, we only need so many stops. So get this many stops and we'll score this many points and we'll score. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of thing is what I have in mind for this team, which they could do. Like, if they're just going to try and go out and outscore people, they can do that and probably be pretty successful at it when you look at who they have on the offensive end. But chemistry takes time. Mm-hmm. Knowing where guys like to catch the ball before they shoot takes time. You know, knowing guys' strides and where they're going to be and all these things, they take time. And that is kind of their biggest hurdle, in my opinion. Defense, we haven't seen them play good defense in the 2 years they've existed. So previously, 3. You're right. This is year 4. Either way, it's still, we haven't seen it be done. So that's still not something we can count on or rely on until it's been shown. So hopefully these guys are ready to score. That's kind of just my opinion on it. Is they brought these guys in to score because they're like, hey, we can't get stops. Like, they were losing a lot of games last year. Like, what was it, like 18-9, 18-10, 17-11? Like, they were putting up a good amount of points, but they couldn't stop any goals from going in. So they were like, you know what? Maybe on the backside, if we can score 18 goals a game, when we give up 17, it doesn't matter. That's kind of where I think their thought process is, but I could be completely wrong about that. And there's really only one way to find out, and that's to watch them play the games.
Yeah, I mean, in their 54 games that they have played, they are 14-40. 14-40. There are some teams that have won 14 games in a season since the Desert Dogs have existed. So there is a lot of pressure. And, you know, it's going to be very interesting to see how this team responds to said pressure. Because there's going to be shining lights on them, and that's not just the Las Vegas Strip. Everyone is going to be tuning in to watch them play. You know, you have the bright lights of Pat McAfee being a Chase Frazier guy. Like, they're going to be talking about him all NLL season long. You bring in someone like Mitch Jones, you bring in a Chris Kluche, like, there's a lot of pressure, and I'm going to be intrigued to see how they handle that pressure. Speaking of handling pressure, the three-peat champs, they may have lost Chase Frazier and Chris Kluche. They did re-sign Matt Vince. They brought in Ryan Benesh back to Bandit land. They have 2025 all-name team draft pick Coltrane Tyson coming in. Mike Triolo, Big Tree, heads to Buffalo. And I mean, until further notice, Buffalo is still Buffalo. And like, this is all pending what we talked about last week with an alleged Lyle Thompson trade potentially in the works that could be to Buffalo. Who knows? But you still have Josh Byrne. You still have Dane Smith. You still have Tehoka Nanticoke. You still have Ian McKay. You still have Matt Vince. You still have Connor Farrell. You still have Cam Wires. You still have John Tavares as your head coach. This team's still going to be very fucking good.
Of course it will be. They didn't lose everybody. They just lost a few pieces. Key pieces, yeah, but this isn't the first time we've seen a championship team at least lose key pieces and still be good. Am I saying they're going to win a championship again? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know who's going to win a championship. I can't give you any guesses right now. We haven't seen anybody play any meaningful competition. It's all just paper. I mean, do they have to be the favorite? Probably, because they haven't lost that much and they're returning a lot and they just won 3 championships in a row. Hard not to put them as the favorite until you have a reason not to. But I do think a couple of their games will look a little differently than what we're used to from the past couple of years. And that could spell all the difference in, this team winning a championship and not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, until further notice, it's Buffalo's title to lose because it's been the case. They've been to 5 straight NLL title game, title series. They've won 3 in a row. And until someone dethrones them, they are the champs. And that's just how sports work. It's a new era in Calgary, Deej. I got to say, I'm loving the tertiary logo, alternate logo with the oil rig and the red R with the metal. That looks clean. Key additions, the aforementioned Riley Lowen, 2025 draft pick Noah Manning, 2025 draft pick Kyle Pepper, and the aforementioned Aiden Walsh. Key subtractions,
And the color red.
Reese Callies, Curtis Dixon, Dane Doby, Jesse King, Nick Rose, and like you said, the biggest key addition is the return of the red in Calgary.
Yes. That is what we're most looking forward to this year. The additions are nice. Most of them coming in the draft. So, we'll kind of see what these guys are going to be able to bring. We know what Riley Lowen brings, not only to Calgary, but just to a lacrosse team in general. So it's nice to have him back in a Calgary uniform and, helping out the good guys rather than the soft necks over there. You feel me? So
we are never getting a Vancouver Warriors player on this podcast again.
Yeah, okay, sure. I think they'd love to talk to me. It's fine.
Of course they would.
I'm really excited for this season, though, after some of the things I saw in the preseason. And it's always exciting to turn over a new leaf and get to know a new squad of guys and then kind of set a new culture and precedent for the next couple of years. And that's where the Roughnecks are. They had some pretty top-heavy teams for the last couple of years to try and get another championship in there. And now that that's not the case, they're going to look to pivot younger and restart this whole thing.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by them. I think I think a lot of people are overlooking what they're going to be able to accomplish. Am I saying they're title favorites? No. But I think they're going to be a lot more fun to watch. I think they're going to play good fundamental lacrosse. And they're a young team. And what do we love in sports? We love watching the new, young, flashy toys that come into a league. Calgary's got a lot of them. And I think, with guys like Riley Lowen still on this team, you still have a lot of a building core here.
Hayden Dixon, Tanner Cook.
You have Breda Maia. Like there's very fun players on this team, and I think they're going to play a fun style of lacrosse. Not to tip hands or anything, but like this isn't my pick, but like Calgary should be like a league pass team if you want to watch like fun, frisky, like just entertaining lacrosse with a bunch of young players that have nothing to lose.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to be locked and loaded this year. It's going to be a very fun season. Like you said, it's just a bunch of, for the most part, young guys that have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Like it's a total experience for them to step into the league or step into their new role, grow in it, and get better and try and take Calgary back to the top.
Yeah, I'm going to be very intrigued to see what they're able to do this season. Another team, Hoots' boys out in Colorado. Big turnover, big shifts out in Colorado. Key additions, Andrew Q, Dylan McIntosh, Braden Saris, who's a 2025 draft pick. I'm also going to throw in Dylan Hess as a key addition here. who is suiting up and wearing that number 88 for the Colorado Mammoth this year. And I think he's going to be an absolute demon in the box game. Key subtractions, Damon Edwards, who retired. Shout out to Damon Edwards, one hell of a career. Tyson Gibson, Connor Kelly, Connor Robinson, and Zed Williams. The Zed Williams trade to Rochester feels like it was years ago.
Feels forever.
It feels forever
I
ago.
almost forgot it happened.
Like, it's crazy that was like the first domino move of the NLL offseason, but that feels like ages ago. But here we are, Colorado, a new era. Still a lot of familiar faces on that team, though. And you're adding a dynamic, lethal scorer in Andrew Q, friend of the program. I don't know. Like, yes, does it suck to lose guys like Connor Kelly, Connor Robinson, Zed Williams? Absolutely. But the past couple of years, that hasn't been working for this team. And when you compare, Will Malcolm with Andrew Q and just kind of bring a new spark to this offense, that's going to be exciting. You still have Warren Jeffrey, anchoring that defense. You still have Dylan Ward. I still think Colorado is going to be a very fun, frisky team. I think they're going to be a lot more improved than they were last year. And while it's going to be a lot of like figuring out identity to a degree on offense, I still think they have a lot of really, really good pieces that are going to help them win a lot of games this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think this team will be themselves. They're the Colorado man.
Lee.
Man, you don't even know, bro. They're the Mammoth. The Loud House exists for a reason. They do still have a lot of their core guys that they've had over the last couple of years. They did lose some of those guys, but like you said, it kind of was a group of guys that wasn't working. And it was like that weird doesn't work. Like there would be times like when they clicked and they were on. And you had a tough night and you really hoped that they were just going to have a bad day. And then when they were having a bad day, every Mammoth fan in the world would just hope for a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were losing games, 13-5, 14-4, like really bad scores. So it's like the ups and downs were so high and so low that you had to look somewhere else and make some kind of change / move to figure out where you're going to go next. And these were the moves that they made. I think they made good moves, but we won't really know the full effect of them until, they start to play. And the biggest move will probably be Zed Williams. I think he's a guy that they could have kept and done something with who else they brought in, but they chose not to for various reasons. So I'll be interested to kind of see how that works out for the two respective sides between Rochester and Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, you still have Will Malcolm. Owen Ron was a very fun young player for them last year. Thomas Vila is still on this team. Ben McDonald. You added Andrew Q, like we said. Ryan Lee is going to be back. Hopefully a much healthier Ryan Lee. And we'll see what happens with Eli McLaughlin and obviously his, fire school stuff. But nonetheless, I think this is going to be a very defensive-minded team. I think that's how they should approach things, and then just let the offense come to them. Don't force the offense, just kind of let the offense flow. But if they go in with a mentality that, like, we're a defense-first team, I think they can shock a lot of people and be a very competitive team this season.
Yeah, I mean, if they're pushing backside forward and letting their defense create easy offense opportunities, they definitely can take advantage of that. Maybe trap an O guy on D a couple times and really take advantage of the transition opportunities they get, because the defense is the strongest part of this team. That's where they lost the least amount of guys. That's where they still have a Hall of Famer in Dylan Ward. Warren Jeffrey would probably be a Hall of Famer as well. So having those pieces on the backside plus more guys you're familiar with should make it a little bit easier for them to have some success on that end to then try and create some on the opposite side.
What do you know about pushing backsides forward there? Pause.
Why are you on that with me today? I'm just talking about lacrosse, man.
Sunday fun day, baby.
I am like, I'm the easiest person to hit pause on, like realistically, because I just speak and then like I don't like, not that I don't think about it, but like I don't think about the double entendres.
I'm so glad you got that.
That could exist.
If you're not watching on YouTube and you just heard dead silence, please go over to YouTube and watch what we just did. This is the stupidest fucking show to ever exist, and I love every bit of it.
Straight out of a movie scene, dog.
Oh my god.
Literally, basically, straight out of a movie scene. But yeah, like I just don't really think about the double entendres of the things that I say. So yes, I was thinking about playing from defense to offense, and I said pushing from the backside forward. Yes.
Push.
Why
don't we take his backside and push it over here?
You should see the kids when I'm coaching. It's just pause all day. They're like, "Whoa, coach, pause." I'm like, "Dog, you know what I'm talking about."
Oh, that's so funny. Moving right along, the Georgia Swarm. A big offseason for them. A lot of turnover. Their key additions are a bunch of draft picks. Nolan Byrne, 2025 pick. Ben Trumbull, 2025 pick. And one of our favorite young players, Deej, Michael Grace, ready to suit up for the Swarm, a 2024 draft pick. Key subtractions, Brendan Bomberry, Andrew Q, Jeremy Thompson, Miles Thompson. Jeremy Thompson, since we last recorded, has signed with the Rochester Nighthawks. I love that move for them. That's got me feeling nicey. Okay?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's
love
crazy.
that move. Georgia's going to be interesting this year. Still have Lyle for the time being. You still have one of the best goalies in professional lacrosse across the board in Brett Dobson. Still have Shane Jackson for the time being. You still have Connor Kelly, allegedly, although it is interesting that he's not on their key additions list. What do you make of Georgia with this big off-season turnover? I think this could be a struggling-ish year for Georgia.
I don't know. Because this is probably the simplest team to like do this for. I don't know, because they made so many changes. Anything could happen.
Mm-hmm.
They could be like, honestly, I think they could have a terrible season. The only reason the answer is I don't know is because they have a guy that wears number 4.
Mm-hmm.
And you can never count out a team with that guy on it. So as long as Lyle Thompson's wearing a Georgia jersey, I'm not going to say they're going to have a bad season. So that is what has me in this weird middle land of I don't know. It's because Lyle could decide to just be Lyle Thompson every single game, which he normally does. But like he could just kick it up that extra notch and really be Lyle Thompson, and they're going to compete, and they may make the playoffs, and everybody's going to be like, what happened? Or he could be Lyle Thompson, and they could not compete outside of, a few others that are there to help, and they could miss the playoffs, and people will be like, yeah, we kind of expected that after, the moves they made. Both of those are very plausible. I just don't know which one it's going to be.
Right. I think it's going to be a tough year for Georgia. Like, you still have one of the best goaltenders, so, like, he's going to keep you in games. Dauber will. Lyle Thompson's going to do Lyle Thompson things. Shane Jackson's going to do Shane Jackson things so long as he is there, so long as Lyle's there. But I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains for this team just because it's such a young core, and that's to be expected. But when you have a season like this, it's just setting you up for an inevitable, like, growing future. And Georgia fans should be excited about, I think, what will be on the very near horizon with their team. Let's move to the Halifax Thunderbirds, Deej, because this one's an interesting one. Key additions, Brendan Bomberry, Ethan O'Connor. No notable subtractions, according to the NLL. I think that's the only team that they listed with no notable subtractions. Adam Levy was on the run out with Neil Barrett and Hoots and said, Halifax is a team that how many chances are we going to give them? Because every new season rolls around, we are always like, oh, Halifax, put them in the playoffs. They're going to be a contender. They're going to be a playoff team. And then they fall short every single season. So how long does the benefit of the doubt extend to with Halifax as we enter 2025, 2026? To me, I still think they're a formidable team, but I can't put them as a top 4 team. They're not top 4 to me right now. You know, you still have Randy Stotts recovering from injury. Cody Jameson's another year older. Warren Hill's another year older. I don't feel comfortable putting Halifax as a top 4 team in the National Lacrosse League going into this season.
On paper, absolutely. On paper, they're absolutely a top 4 team. I will not question that a day. Like, I wouldn't argue that with anybody. I'd be like, absolutely. Yes, top 4 team on paper. But how many times in a row have we said Halifax is a top 4 team on paper at the beginning of a season, in the middle of a season, almost at the end of a season? And how many times have we seen them either A, fizzle out at the end of the season and not make the playoffs, B, do just enough to make the playoffs and lose in the first round, or C, have a really good season and lose in the first round, or D, they managed to somehow win the first game because they got to host it at the Nest and play on a Friday at 6:30 when nobody else is ready to play, and then lose in the second round. So, like, all of those sound like not a success to the season you're looking forward to. So how many times are we going to keep, like, boasting Halifax to be this good team that falls short every single time?
I love their addition. I love Brendan Bomberry going there. I love Ethan O'Connor going there. But, like, until, like, they can do all they want in the regular season. They are very much a team that they're going to be successful in the regular season, but I need to see it in the playoffs. And they have not been able to do it in the playoffs. I don't know what it's going to take. Micah Corsi is a listener of this show, a friend of this show. I still think he's one of the best head coaches in the league. But, like, something like culture schematically, something has to, like, shift. Not necessarily change, but you need to, like, shift something like a globe and, like, turn it on its axis just a bit if you want to be successful and get over some of these humps that you've faced. The dying out at end of seasons has been their Achilles heel. They seem to lose steam as the season goes on. They start off hot. Even if people are doubting them, they're like, oh, look, Halifax 4-0, 5-0, 5-1. And then they kind of come back and regress to the mean. And there's a lot that needs to be figured out with Halifax. They're going to be such an intriguing team. There's a reason we call them a Jekyll and Hyde team, because they are just that. I can't make them a top 4 team until I see it consistently, because there's a lot of talented teams in this league. And we've talked about a bunch of them already. We'll talk about some more. I need to see it. It's a wait and see. They are very much an eye test team for me this year.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I think the only difference this possible, like, to me, it feels like they kind of just have had some guys that couldn't live up to the lights of the playoffs before. And it seems like their whole job this offseason was to go get guys who have played in the playoffs, been successful in the playoffs, and kind of know how to kickstart that motor to the next level for the playoffs.
Yeah, which takes us to a team that is looking to get back to the playoffs. That is the newly named Oshawa Firewolves. Key additions: Taggart Clark, now getting to play for his dad, Glenn. Kyle Rubish, big-time defensive ad there for Oshawa. Key subtractions: Ethan O'Connor, Sam Firth, Callum Crawford. Interesting team. I don't know what to make of the Firewolves this year. So much talent on offense from, obviously, Dyson Williams, Ty Kurtz. You know, they're such a young team that last year and the year prior, when they went to the NLL finals, was almost like the opposite ends of the balance that they should have for where they are right now. And I am wildly intrigued to see what they're going to be able to accomplish. You add Taggart Clark to this offense, who I think is a very good player. You know, you add that to Ty Kurtz, Alex Simmons, Dyson Williams, you have guys on this team that are talented. Kyle Jackson, obviously, with this team, I think is going to be a huge, veteran presence. John Wagner still with them. Joe Nardella still with this team. Dougie Jameson still holding it down in goal for them. There's a lot of good about this team. There's a lot of fun about this team. I just want to see the consistency from them. Last year I think was a little bit of a weird, regression from the high of going to the NLL finals with such a young core. You added Dyson Williams to the mix and trying to get him acclimated, with this team. Took a little bit, but he got going, obviously. They're going to be frisky. I think they're going to be much improved from last year. It's just a matter of consistency, I think.
Yeah, I could 100% agree with you on that. I think they're going to be a little bit closer to who they were 2 years ago than who they were last year. I feel like they had some bright spots last year, some really good moments where they looked really good and looked like that team that went to the NLL final. But most of the season, they really struggled with a lot of things. I think they kind of returned back closer to that form of 2 years ago. I think they will still struggle with some things as they grow as a team and as a lot of the young players they have begin to grow into their roles. Because really, when you look at their roster, a lot of young guys are being asked to be stars, which is big time play, and that's a big move at that age. So as they adjust to that and get better over the next couple of years, you'll start to see them return back to that NLL Cup form. But at the moment, they're basically dealing with growing pains as they grow as a team and as individuals.
Yeah, they're young. Like that, it's bound to happen. I think they exceeded expectations when they went to the NLL finals. They kind of underperformed last year, and I think this year will be a good middle ground. I think they have everything in the tank to be a playoff team, and then you just see what happens if you're able to, punch that ticket to the postseason.
Absolutely. Take your shot at that. Hey, that's the name of the game. Get to the dance, and then you see
anything
what
can happen. Which takes us to a team that's looking to make the dance for the first time, and that is the Ottawa Black Bears, formerly New York Riptide. The Ottawa Black Bears. Key additions, a lot of them. Liam Aston, great name, 2025 draft pick. Tyler Carlson, Sam Firth, and Rob Hellier. Key subtractions, John LaFontaine, Cam Dunkerley, Taggart Clark. Obviously, Jeff Teat on this squad. Larson Sundown on this squad. You still have Zach Higgins holding it down in goal. You still have Connor Kiernan on this team. The big thing for me is just the defense. They are very similar to Vegas, where in this essence, Ottawa has the goalie in Higgy, but Higgy can only stand on his head for so much. And you need a defense to perform in front of him. That's going to be my biggest question. You added the Robin to the Batman that is Jeff Teat with Rob Hellier. I think those two are going to be incredible together. But it's all a matter of, can you get back in transition? Can you play defense and help out your all-world goaltender in Zach Higgins?
I agree. I think there were a lot of games last year where they were in position to win, and then they would crumble on the defensive end. They would be asking Higgins to save 3-4 shots in a possession, which eventually one of those is going to go in. So if you can step up on the defensive end, get better on loose balls in that half of the field and clear it to your offense and let them chew clock toward the end of some of these games, you're going to be in a much better position than you were last year. I think really, I don't even think their defense is necessarily that bad. I just don't think they did a good job of closing out possessions last year. They did a really good job of forcing teams to take the shots that Higgins wanted to see, but then the rebounds they couldn't corral and keep the loose balls to themselves. Teams were hitting the offensive glass, and then they were making the second, third, and fourth opportunities count, which you can't really allow teams to have in the NLL. Like that reset really sucks because you just play defense. Like, it's so much harder to play defense than it is offense. You're using more energy. So when you just played a whole 30-second shot clock and then you give up a loose ball rebound, you got to go do that again for 30 seconds. And the longer you do that, the more tired you get, which means you make mistakes. You leave a guy open, something simple, and boom, there's a goal over and over and over again. So if they can not even really limit the mistakes, more so as clean up their clearing. If they're able to clear the ball at a more efficient rate, I think we see them have more success.
Yeah, I mean, they have Jake Stevens on this team too, who's going to get a full, known season coming off of winning an outdoor championship with the New York Atlas. Like that helps. Obviously same thing with Jeff Teat. When you have guys who now have championship pedigree in your locker room, that does a lot for a team. And I think that's going to be a big boost for them this year. They're going to be very much in the running for a league pass team, I think, for a lot of people this year. Which brings us to the Philadelphia Wings. Key additions: Brian Cameron, Eric Fannell, who you guys will hear from in just a moment. Key subtractions: Shane Simpson, Tony Malcolm, Mitch Jones. Joe Resetarits is back, which is a huge, huge deal, I think, for this offense. Brendan O'Neill in year 2. Michael Sowers gets a full year under his belt this year. Dalton Young gets a full year under his belt this year. There's a lot to like about this Wings team that I think a lot of people are just discrediting because of past seasons. I think there's a lot to be optimistic about, and I'm not just saying that because I cover the team, because I'm a fan of the team and want them to have success. You look at the roster, any roster that has Brendan O'Neill, Joe Resetarits, and Michael Sowers on it offensively, there's a lot to be optimistic about. When you add a Chris Corbeil to this team for a full season in front of a Nick Damude, Ryan Wagner is back, Alex Pace is back. There's a lot to be optimistic about with this team, and I think it's a free, go pass go collect $200 type of year for the Wings, where like there's no pressure. I think you pushed your chips in a lot of ways. It didn't work. You still have Blaze Reardon coming back too. I know he's on the PUP list right now, but he'll be back. There's a lot to be optimistic about, I think, when it comes to this Wings team. And, Nick Rowlett has looked good in the preseason. That's a great sign for this team to have a healthy faceoff guy, which I think has been their Achilles heel. Scott Dominy's going to be back. We heard from him last week, obviously. Sam LeClaire is still on this offense. You add Eric Fannell, who I think is going to be an absolute horse on offense for this team. I feel like wildly optimistic about what this team is going to be able to accomplish in year 2 under Coach Ian Rubel.
Yeah, I mean, I like the additions. There's going to be subtractions most of the time, but you brought back some key guys, and then you were able to bring in some new talent. I think the offense got better, and like you said, with a lot of these teams, the question has been the defense. I think it's kind of the same with Philadelphia. Is will the defense be able to show up on a consistent basis and help out the goaltender back there on a regular basis, and that use those transition opportunities to set the offense up? I think you get stellar play from the big names that you're supposed to this year all around the floor, and they have a chance at an NLL Cup. But if they continue to kind of have those weird droughts where they're scoring like 9 goals a game and they can't buy a win, then they're going to struggle again still. And then I think it's back to the drawing board. But I think them getting off to a good start to the season will be huge for them as well. If they're able to win a couple of games, 2-3 games to start the season before they really figured things out and what works for them and what doesn't, and what different groups have on the floor together and all those things, and they could be a very dangerous team.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at their schedule, first 4 games, first quadrant here. Home against Colorado for the opener, at Rochester, at Ottawa, home against Rochester.
Yeah, so
Rochester twice in the first 4 games, I think, is almost a benefit to a degree, where like they've got a lot of new pieces still trying to click in some ways. So to get them early is almost a benefit for the Wings. They've always played Rochester well over the years. Ottawa, that can be a winnable game. I think you're in a similar boat as them. And then kind of just go out and set the tone against Colorado in your home opener and give your fans something to be excited about.
Yeah, there's definitely a handful of opportunities to go with here. And like you said, I think Rochester's probably the best team on this early schedule,
Mm-hmm.
but having them twice plays to some advantage, and it gives you kind of a true test and gauge early in the season to begin to make some adjustments.
100%. And I think you guys are going to love what you hear from our next guests, Eric Fannell, Mitch Armstrong, a bit of veteran and young core piece here for the Philadelphia Wings from Wings Media Day. Eric Fannell, Deej, you know me. I love guys who just like know their Philly sports history, and sitting and talking with Eric Fannell and him saying he chose to play here. He loves the blue collar mentality of Philadelphia. He said when you're in the arena and you look up and you see guys like Wilt Chamberlain and Eric Lindros, and you see all the Wings players banners up there for the retired numbers, like that lets you know you're in a great sports city. And for him to recognize that as somebody who, one, is Canadian, two, coming here and choosing here, it made me love this guy even more. Plus, he's fucking yatted up, and I love a dude with yats on my team, okay? But I think it was an awesome conversation. I think Philly fans are going to love Eric Fannell. So without any further ado, before we get to our Media Day interview with Eric Fannell and Mitch Armstrong, make sure you guys check out our awesome merch partners this holiday season, PHI Apparel Company. Rep your favorite lacrosse players' favorite lacrosse podcast with official OTP shirts and hoodies. It's truly the best way to support the show. Go to phiapparel.co, and when you go to checkout, use code underground. You get 10% off your next merch order. Again, that's phiapparel.co, code underground, 10% off your next merch order. Stand out in the crowd with the official merch partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia and the Outside the Box podcast. Also want to talk to you guys about our awesome pals over at 47. Guys, Deej and I, we swear by 47 brand. Like, hands down, it is truly our headwear of choice when we rep our favorite sports teams. If you join the 47 family today, it's their rewards program. It's free to join. You get early access to their Cyber Week sales, which, guess what? Newsflash, 30% off the whole website. No limits. Gotta love that. And you get free shipping on all orders. Okay. Rep your favorite sports team. Shop for your favorite sports fans, whether it's NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, MLS, WNBA, NASCAR, minor league, college, you name it. Get the Carhartt collections and so much more. Use our link in the description. Join the 47 family today and get early access to their Cyber Week sales, plus free shipping on all orders when you join the 47 family. And we thank 47 for being a proud partner of the Outside the Box podcast. Yeah, Deej, I'm gonna be taking advantage of that. I might be going and getting a little custom OTB hat made. Might have to go make that happen.
Might have to make that happen. You're right.
It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. We need them. No better place to do it than 47. But without any further ado, ladies and gents, here is our Media Day sit down with Philadelphia Wings players Eric Fannell and Mitch Armstrong. All right, everybody, we're here at Philadelphia Wings Media Day 2025, and I am joined here by Eric Fannell, newest member of the Philadelphia Wings, and Mitch Armstrong. Boys, welcome to the show. Happy to have you here. First things first, how excited are we for this season with the Wings?
I'm pumped, man. We got a good crew coming into camp, and I'm looking forward to a healthy year.
Over the moon. I'm happy to be here. It's my first time being in Philly like this, so I'm very happy and grateful to be a part of an amazing organization.
Yeah, no, Eric, you signed here in free agency, obviously, and, just take me through what that process is in the National Lacrosse League as a free agent. There's not many opportunities for it, but when you're, surveying the landscape of being a free agent, what drew you into Philadelphia the most?
So when you're become a UFA, you have to reach a certain age and a certain amount of years in the league. So I finally reached the UFA standard, and I was able to pick the team that I wanted to go to. And honestly, Philadelphia, outside of the Wings, the Eagles, the Phillies, the 76ers, has an amazing history of just loving their sports and they're loving their team. So that really drew me in. And then also the fans. The fans were, when we came here, they were aggressive, they were intense, they showed true love for their team. So I was like, wow, that's a team that I want to play for. And then at the end of the day, the coaching staff I have known for a very long time, the general manager as well. So I trusted them, and when they contacted me, I was over the moon to hear that they wanted me, and when they offered me a contract, I couldn't say no.
And Mitch, when you see somebody like Eric decide to sign here too, what's that energy like when you're talking with the boys getting ready for the season, knowing that he chose to come here?
Yeah, I mean, we're fired up about that. I mean, I've watched Eric growing up in St. Catharines, so he's kind of a legend around town and around the league. I mean, not just around town. So the boys are fired up, and we can't wait to see what he brings.
When you guys look at, the trajectory of this season and kind of, righting some of the wrongs from last year, Mitch, and seeing where some of those dips happen, what are some things you guys have talked about this offseason to, correct some of those things, and looking at who's come into the organization now and kind of seeing who are going to be key components for you guys? What are some things you've really honed in on, adjusting and fixing going into this season?
I mean, I think our biggest thing this year is coming in with a fresh slate, just resetting, kind of having a short memory, but also holding some of the key aspects from last year tight. The good things we're going to build off them, and the bad things we're going to try to forget about them.
Eric, when you see somebody last year like Brendan O'Neill just hop into the box game the way that he did, and now you get to call him a teammate, how exciting is that for you?
Oh, it's very exciting. I watched him play at Duke. I seen him have a ton of success there, and then when he came into the box, to see him take his first year and do so well, I was like, okay, that's someone that I think I could work with, and I'm definitely excited to see how our 2-man game, 3-man game with Blaze as well works over there, and I couldn't, ask for a better teammate.
When you guys see that Joe Restaterrence is back too, a leader on this team for the past couple of seasons, a league legend, what excitement was that, when you see that official announcement come through that Joe's running it back and coming back with this team?
I mean, I was fired up. I've known Joe since I started here, and I know what kind of presence he brings outside of the floor, not just on the floor, and I was beyond excited.
Yeah, me too. Joe is a legend in St. Catharines as well. He may be from Buffalo, but he played for the St. Catharines Athletics, the same team that me and Army played for. So, like, when I was younger, I was watching him play, and he's a legend. So I was very happy to see him re-sign and continue playing for the Wings with us.
When you have, December 13th as the home opener, what excites you guys about, that first run out of the tunnel, hearing those fans that are always packing the stadium, good, bad, in between, they're always here, rooting for you and wanting to see the best for this team. What kind of emotion kind of goes into that in the lead up to the home opener, and just getting excited about having, a packed Xfinity Mobile Arena for you guys?
I mean, I've been fortunate enough to play here, and the fans just bring the juice every game. So just feeding off their energy really brings our game to another level.
And then I've been fortunate enough to play against the Wings and to hear their passion and aggression towards the opposing team. I'm finally happy that I'm going to be on the other side, and they're going to actually cheer for me instead of, get on me. So I'm pretty excited about that a lot.
Mitch, going behind the curtain in the locker room a little bit, not many people get this peek behind the curtain. Who's kind of the jokester in the dressing room and kind of gets the boys, a little light on their feet before a game?
Yeah, I like to say Ida. Ida's always one to keep it light, Ida, I mean, as serious as we are, we all have our jokester sides, and I think we all bond over that.
When you look at the makeup of this roster too, where there is, the young aspect of this roster, yourself, Brennan, even Michael Sowers, stepping into his first full season in the box game. And then you have the veterans like Blaze, like Joe, you have Eric coming in. Like, what does that say about a locker room dynamic to be able to mesh, a young core with the veterans in place and kind of have that all come together?
I think with the dynamic we have this year, there's always something to learn. I mean, I can learn so much from Eric. I can learn so much from Chris, but I also think as much learning as we can do from them, we can also pass a couple things we've learned along too.
What are some things that kind of makes coach tick? Last year was year one for him at the helm as a head coach. What are some things that a lot of people wouldn't know about coach, behind the scenes that makes him who he is?
His passion for reading, and his passion for working out. I mean, Rubes is always one guy that wants the best out of you, and he expects the best out of you. And when he's not getting that, he'll let you know. And I think that's one of the best things about Rubes.
Eric, who's the one teammate that you're most looking forward to, sharing the floor with now that you're in Philly?
I can't say one teammate, as I'm here to play for the Wings. I'm not here to play for one specific player. Obviously, I'm excited to play with Bennett. I'm excited to play with Blaze. I'm excited to play with all of our O guys because, that's the position I played. But without our D guys, without our goalies, we don't win. So I'm hopeful that I can bring the whole collective unit together and show that it's a family mentality and everybody needs to pull their weight in order to bring success to this organization.
For the Philly fans who may not be familiar with your game, what do you bring to the table? What's some stuff that's in your bag that they may not be accustomed to, that you're going to be able to add to this roster offensively?
I would have to say I'm a blue-collar worker. I work hard.
They're gonna love that.
That's why I'm happy because I'm a blue-collar guy. Loose balls, hard picks. Playing a little bit with an edge, playing aggressive. Trying my best to help my teammates out, get open, and just doing whatever the team needs.
When you run out of the tunnel on December 13th and you hear your name, what's that feeling kind of be like for you, knowing, the whole process you went through with free agency? You chose Philadelphia, they chose you, and, kind of getting that warm welcome of, the process kind of finally coming to fruition that first time you run out of the tunnel.
Well, I've had many run out of the tunnels, but at the end of the day, they all remind me of the day when I was a kid and I just dreamed about playing in this league with the best players, and it's just going to bring me back to that moment that I didn't have it, and I would just work so hard to be where I am today. And I was in my backyard with a net, a ball, and my own stick, and that's all I had. So I'm just going to be feeling like a kid again. So I'm going to be excited, very excited.
Like Eric brought up, just the history and, a lot of the recent success of the other teams in this city, knowing that, when things are going good, people want to buy into any, piece of Philadelphia sports that they can. Obviously, the Eagles coming off a Super Bowl championship, the Union are in the playoffs right now. To kind of be in a city that is so, rabid about their sports teams, what kind of pride do you guys take in just preparing for, representing Philadelphia as your home city?
Me? At the end of the day, when you put on a jersey that has so much history and so much success, when you look up into the rafters and you see NLL guys alongside, guys like Eric Lindros and Wilt Chamberlain, and then you're going to eventually see Allen Iverson. I don't know if he was up there yet, but you see those guys, Pat Marechuk, beside those guys, that this city cares about their sports teams. They care about their athletes, and you need to care about them as well. And for us to care about them, that means we have to put in 110% effort on the floor, off the floor at all times, so that we know when we step out there, we're ready to go to war.
Yeah, I think Eric nailed it right on the head. Giving just 110%, trying to be better than the guy beside you. As much as they're your teammate, they're also pushing you to be the best version of yourself. And I think carrying that mindset going into game after game, I think that's going to really help us.
Guys, I'm pumped for the season. Looking forward to seeing you guys run out on that floor on December 13th. Best of luck, and thanks for hopping on the show.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
Shout out to Eric Fannell, Mitch Armstrong, and the Philadelphia Wings for having me out at Media Day. Update, ribs are completely fine now. Feels good to not have sore ribs. Eric Fannell's the man. I can't wait to cover him this season. He's going to be an absolute delight. Mitch Armstrong is just the most pure, sweet human. He's just so kind. And I think him having a healthy season is going to be huge for this team as well. So shout out to the boys for hopping on at Media Day. DJs, we push forward 3 more teams to talk about. the Rochester Nighthawks, a team that we hold near and dear to our hearts. Some key additions: 2025 draft pick Adam Thistlethwaite, all-name team. Jeremy Thompson and Zed Williams. Key subtractions: Brandon Slade, Kevin Orleman. I mean, you're adding Zed Williams to the reigning league MVP, to Thomas McConvey, who those two potentially can be teammates year-round if Zed suits up for the Water Dogs in 2026, to Ryan Smith, to Ryan Lanchberry. This offense is going to be fucking sweet.
Yeah, this offense is loaded. I mean, loaded. This is a Buffalo Bandits a couple years ago type offense, San Diego Seals types offense. I mean, even Toronto has had an offense that was kind of loaded like this. A couple of the Roughnecks offenses back when they won championships were loaded like this. Like, this is a championship type offense. Defense? A little 6-7 action going on over there.
I'm going to pull up their defense, actually, because I want to just see who is still on their team, according to their website.
Yeah, but their offense should be insane.
I mean, Thistlethwaite's going to be a huge addition. I would like to see him add like maybe 10 more pounds. He's 6'1", 190. I'd like to see him hit that 200 mark to be a little bit beefier. But, you know, you still have Tyler Biles, Brad Gillies, Tyler Halls, Chad Tutton, who I think is a huge enforcer for this team. Dan Coates, Ian Lord is back at age 40. Spider-Man, Mitchell Dunham on this team, and Jake Pacino. I like this team a lot, man. They are going to be incredible. Nathan Grennan is on this team. Kyle Waters, Graydon Hogg. They had, you know, Rylan Reese in transition. You add Jeremy Thompson to Rylan Reese. Casey Rogers is on this team. Did he go back to the... I guess he signed with the Night. I guess the Wings released him. You know, Josh Medeiros is on this team. Matt Gilray is back. There's a lot to... They are a complete team in a lot of ways. I think the biggest thing is just going to be the consistency from goaltending. You know, to have Riley Hutchcraft, Rylan Hartley be there for you. Get Brad McCulley healthy. That's another offensive weapon. But the goaltending is going to be the key thing. If you can get consistent goaltending from this team, I find it hard to look up and down the National Lacrosse League and see very few teams being able to compete with the Rochester Nighthawks on a night in and night out basis. No pun intended there with the word night. Action.
But yeah, I what the fuck is going on? What the fuck? Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. Goaltending was their issue last year and the year before. So if they're able to get some solid goaltending between the pipes, they're going to be an extremely hard team to stop. They have so much returning, and then the pieces that they brought in, as long as they're able to find their groove pretty quickly and see where they slot in and where they're needed, this team could be very dangerous come, February, March.
Yeah. I mean, to me on paper, they're a top 4 team in the league right now. Hands down. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Which brings us to a team that's going to be very, very interesting. A lot of turnover, but in a good way. And that is the San Diego Seals, our good personal friends. Key additions: Cam Dunkerley, 2025 draft pick; Chris Kavanaugh, the reigning PLL Rookie of the Year; Connor Robinson, Corey Small, Ari Steenhuis, 2025 draft pick as well. And I'll throw this in there, a full season of Pat Cavanaugh as well. Key subtractions, Ryan Benesh, Rob Hellier, Cam Holding, Kyle Rubish. They got younger. They still have Trevor Baptiste. They still have Danny Logan. They still have a prolific offense. I think it's just a matter of being consistent and really finding their identity for the first time in a long time. The Seals have not had a true identity, I think, since year one, not even year one, because they brought over a ton of the Saskatchewan Rush core championship players. Finding their identity is going to be huge for them. This is a big identity season for them now that they have done a lot of turnover. You still have, the veteran presences of Connor Robinson, Corey Small, and guys like that, but you're going very young, and I think it's the first time that we're going to see the San Diego Seals really find themselves in their National Lacrosse League existence.
I think it's a chance for them to kind of create what they want to be. A new identity for them. I think everybody kind of slapped that, oh, this is a really good team that needs to compete for an NLL Cup, like, on them because of who they had on the roster, how quickly they made the playoffs, like all these things. And now it's like, that's not necessarily a fresh restart, but it is a chance for them to kind of create a new identity and new terms of what this team is going to do and be. With the pieces that they have, they can absolutely still be that contending team that should win an NLL Cup. But they could be a team that's like, hey, they're 2 years away from that as they build with this, this, and this. Or they could be, hey, they still need a lot. There's really tons of avenues for them to take from here, which really, I think, relieves a lot of the pressure that was in that locker room. And now they can kind of just go out and freely play, which might even bode better and bring better results than they had in the past because they don't feel like they have to win. They just feel like they have to go out and play well. Maybe not even well, just go out and play and then go from there, which I think is a huge burden lifted off the shoulders.
They have very League Pass vibes around them.
They do have some League Pass vibes.
And the final team, last year's runner-up, the Saskatchewan Rush, pretty much running it back. Key addition, Levi Virch. Key subtraction, Mike Triolo. It's never great when you lose a guy of Mike Triolo's size, the big tree, especially with him going to Buffalo. But if you were going to replace him with somebody, and it's Levi Virch, that's pretty nice. We had a front row seat to Levi this past PLL season, and he was a force on that Carolina Chaos defense. I think he's going to be incredible for Saskatchewan. I think Saskatchewan's still wildly talented and in a very different boat than what Albany, now Oshawa, was coming off of their NLL finals appearance. I think Saskatchewan's still very much in the mix to compete for a championship this year. They have the young core that's been building. They have the key veterans. Adding Levi Virch to that mix is incredible. I think they're going to be such a formidable team in 2025, 2026, and very much a playoff team, very much in the mix to be competing for a championship.
Yeah, I think they're going to be very good this year, like they were last year, which is always a pain to say as a Roughnecks fan. The Battle of the Prairies this year will be awesome. To see that battle go down against two young squads that really don't have a ton to lose. Saskatchewan is obviously going to try and get back to where they were and do it better. But also at the same time, there's not a lot of pressure to be this super successful team either. So they're just going to continue to ride the wave that they've been riding for the last year, and which is just, hey, let's go out and ball, and whatever happens, happens.
100%. I'm excited. There's a lot of new faces in new places, a lot of guys returning to teams. Will have full rosters, obviously, Monday, like we mentioned. But this is not League Pass. This is not anything but Deej. Who's the team right now, just dartboard, that you're most intrigued to watch this season? That doesn't mean that's your League Pass. I'm sitting down, popping them on every night. But who's the team that you're most intrigued by going into 2025, 2026?
Most intrigued is Rochester. I do have my League Pass team already. but I'll save it for when we decide to roll that out.
Mhm.
But I do have my individual League Pass team already locked away.
Rochester's definitely one for me, but it go a little different. Intriguing wise, it's Ottawa. They are the most intriguing team to me going into this year. It's like, will they finally get over the hump? Will they finally get into the postseason for Jeff Teat? There's a lot to be excited about. You know, the season's right around the corner. Scheduling note, I know this probably sounds crazy because we've been recording later than normal. Shout out Xfinity. We will be recording early this week because of Thanksgiving. We'll be recording probably on Tuesday, if not Wednesday, one of those days before Thanksgiving. That way we can drop the episode on Friday. That way Deej and I have all Thursday off, can spend time with the fam, do our things. But we're going to record early this week, which will have...
I got Friday off too.
I don't.
Damn. Oh, yeah, because you work in retail.
Well, I don't work the retail job on Friday. I am exempt from that, luckily.
Violent football?
Eagles
No, because
football.
that's Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, I have Thanksgiving morning for Violent football, but Eagles football is on Friday.
That's not the same.
And
you got the
we're
day off.
doing weird, like, not weird, but like different family stuff this year. I don't know. The boss lady is like throwing all these things. I don't know what the fuck's going on in my house. You know that for sure. You find that you'll probably know before me. You'll get a text and be like, "Hey, can you tell Kyle this?" I'll be like, "Hey, yo, what the fuck? Where's the cheese?"
I'm your liaison, dog.
I'm just put you on my phone as cheese.
If you know, you know. Oh, dog.
Cheese
That's
J
so
Hughes.
Uncle Cheese J.
They call me Big Cheese. Larry Hoover.
So that's where Uncle Larry come from.
Living like Larry. We are going to record early, though. That way the episode will drop on Friday for you guys before games kick off. We'll have picks. We'll have previews. And, you know, it's a small week in terms of games. Just 4 games this week, but there is one on Friday, of course. But, yeah, NLL games right around the corner. Picks will be back. A picks title for Deej on the line. Hoots will be in the NLL picks for the first time. A lot to be excited about this NLL season. A lot to be excited about. And that is why you guys should be following us on the socials at OTB Lax Pod across the board. Follow. We're very close to 1,000 followers on Instagram, very close to 2,000 on Twitter. Follow DJ at SCS_next great. Follow Hoots at Hoot Sports Media. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the pod on Apple and Spotify. It really does help the show, guys. Spotify is telling us we should have 50 more subscribers than we do for a show our size. Some of you are not subscribed. That means you need to subscribe. It's free to subscribe. So subscribe, leave the 5-star reviews, 5-star ratings, and subscribe to both the Underground Sports Philadelphia and Outside the Box podcast YouTube channels, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. We are 31 subscribers away. I think if my math is correct. No, 41. 41 subscribers away from 1,200. Can we get to 1,200 before the end of the year? That would be great. Can we get to 1,200 before Thanksgiving? That'd be great. And we are 34 subscribers away from 100 on the OTB channel, which means the OTB College Show kicks off in 2026. Deej and the kids, Unk and the kids, how we doing?
Unk and the kids.
So subscribe to both of those YouTube channels, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia, youtube.com/@OTB LaxPod. The How We Live in hotline is open. It's open. It's always open. You can call in during games, before games, after games. We want to hear from you guys. Leave us a voicemail during your favorite team's games. Speakpipe.com/OTB LaxPod. And this has been episode number 402 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, and of course viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast network. For Deej, I'm KB. Have a happy and safe holiday, everybody. We will catch you to preview week 1 of the NLL season next episode. It's crazy. It's here. It's finally here. We didn't think it would happen. Look at us. Hey, look at us. Who would have thought?
We made it.
Not
We made
me.
it.
But
Mama,
here
we
we
made it.
are. We will see you on the next episode. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here. Peace.
Peace.